from Children's Hospital, and today we are at the aquarium with Miss Kimberly at the electric eel exhibit. So she's going to teach us a little bit about electric eels today. So Kimberly, let's start off by getting to know the electric eel a little bit. Does he have a name, and how long has he been here?
Yes, so our eel is named Miguel Watson, and I believe we've had him for about 11 years now. So he is a longtime resident at the aquarium.
Where do you find electric eels? Where do they live?
So electric eels are found in the Amazon and the Orinoco River basins in South America. So typically you're gonna find him like in the Amazon River, but they can exist in a lot of different bodies of water. So it doesn't have to be a river. We can find them in small streams and creeks, even mud puddles if the eels find them in an unlucky spot.
How does he make electricity?
So the electric eels have 3 organs within them that actually take up about 80% of their body. That these organs are dedicated to producing electricity. So if you can see him where he's swimming in the water there, he has a fin that starts on the underside of his belly. From where that fin starts almost to the tip of his tail, that 80% of his body is entirely made up of electricity producing organs. So in those organs, there are special cells that work together like little batteries that he can build up charge in them, and then when he is ready, he is able to release that charge. He does produce electricity that goes into the water, but for the most part, the fish are not being shocked by him. So you have to think about the electricity that comes out of Miguel as something like a bubble. So it's not a lightning bolt that he shoots out of him. It kind of forms a sphere around his body. So as long as the fish are keeping a pretty safe distance away from Miguel, then they are not going to be shocked by any of his charges.
Can you pet him?
So you would not pet him like you would want to pet your cat or dog at home, but we are able to touch Miguel if we need to in case of he needs a medical exam or we need to move him from the exhibit. So we have these special gloves here that protect me from his electric shocks. So I am able to put these gloves on, and they go all the way up to your shoulder so that I am able to put my arms in the water and be protected from the shocks that he produces. So I can touch him if I have to, but I'm not going to pet him.
How do we know when he's shocking?
So there is a system in the tank that picks up when Miguel is producing electricity. So there's 3 wires in there that are able to pick up the electricity, and we have a system in place that kind of translates that for us. So there is a board in the gallery here that lights up, and it produces a little bit of sound so we can see and hear with that board when Miguel is producing electricity for us.
Why is he electric? Why does he use electricity?
So they have a couple different uses for their electricity. They have 2 modes of shock. One is their low voltage shock. So he'll produce tiny little bits of electricity, and he uses those mostly for electrolocation. What he's doing is sending out little bits of electricity into the environment, and that electricity bounces back to him, and he has sensors along his body that can pick up the electricity. So he's able to sense the area around him using the electricity. So it's a little bit like dolphins that use echolocation. They use sound to get a picture of their surroundings. He's doing the same thing, but with electricity instead. And they are also able to use their electricity for high voltage shocks. And those are going to be mainly for self-defense, or if he's trying to stun a food prey item. So he'll produce high voltage, stronger shocks to stun a fish so that he can eat it properly.
What does Miguel like to eat?
So Miguel eats a lot of the same food that we feed our other animals here at the aquarium. We have a few different types of fish that we feed him. We feed him smelt, and then we also have silver sides. These are both a type of freshwater fish that he eats. Something else we'll feed him is clam. This is clam tongue. We also will do shrimp. Same shrimp you eat at home. We also feed them things like squid. On occasion, he gets a different variety of squid here. And then this is the weirdest thing that we feed Miguel. So these are our gel cubes. This is kind of like a vitamin and mineral supplement to make sure that Miguel is getting all of the nutrients that he needs. So these weird green squishy cubes are Miguel's vitamins, essentially.
Does he eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner like we do? How many times a day does he eat?
So Miguel eats about 3 times a week. So we will feed him on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that's typically enough. These eels are very low metabolism. They're not moving around a whole lot during the day. They don't need as much food as you or I might need. So 3 times a week is enough food for Miguel.
So when we talk about high voltage, how strong is Miguel's electricity?
So the voltage of his shocks is going to depend on what mode of shock he's doing. So if he's doing one of the low voltage shocks, he's trying to feel his surroundings. Those can be around 10 volts, so kind of a low charge. And if he's doing one of the high voltage shocks, trying to stun a food or prey item, that can be anywhere from 600 to 800 volts. So a magnitude of difference between the low voltage, the 10 voltage shocks that he's doing.
Okay.
He's got a big range.
Have you ever been shocked?
I have never personally been shocked by Miguel. We take a lot of safety precautions when we're working in the exhibit. I always use the gloves anytime I have to do any sort of maintenance in the exhibit, so I thankfully have never been shocked by Miguel.
If he did shock you, what would it feel like?
It would depend on how strong of a shock that he's doing, but on some of their stronger shocks, they can potentially knock people unconscious. Again, we have never had that happen here, but it is a possibility. They have a lot of power in those shocks.
Can we watch Miguel being fed?
Absolutely. Come on back.
Waiting for Miss Kimberly to feed Miguel.
All right.
Get ready. I did not expect that sound.
Was it good?
That was so neat. Can you explain that sound that we heard?
Sure. So when Miguel is feeding, he is trying to stun the food items that he's given. We feed him frozen food, of course, but his reaction is to try to stun. So what he's doing is producing those stronger, the high voltage shocks. So we're able to hear that with the soundboard and the light board in the gallery. So when he produces those high voltage shocks, we get them as really loud pops of sound here in the gallery.
I noticed he keeps going up to the surface. Why is he doing that?
So Miguel, electric eels too, are actually air breathers like we are. So he does have some gills in there. He is able to get a little bit of oxygen from the water, but the areas that they live in are often very poorly oxygenated. They don't have a ton of oxygen in them. So he depends on the air to actually make sure that he is getting enough oxygen. So when he is resting and calm, he goes up about once every 10 minutes to take a gulp of air. But when he's more active, like just after a feeding, he's going up every couple of minutes to get his oxygen from the air.
Very interesting. Kimberly, thank you for spending some time with us this morning and teaching us about electric eels. We've really enjoyed learning.
Yeah, sure. I'm always happy to share facts about Miguel.